Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This video I am going to be going over jinxes, hexes, and curses. What they are, I'm going to share my opinion and experience on them, and also talk about the typical things that people do to take care of these, and then talk about some of the things that I do that I feel are very important in my experience when we have to deal with all these baneful workings and magic targeted at us. Let's get into this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is jinxes, those pesky little annoyances that happens in our lives. These are often thought to be things that are sent really kind of unintentionally. The person that may have jealousy toward you may say something like, oh, they get on my nerves, I wish they just stop, or something like that. That person often, they don't realize that what they are doing is sending that negative energy toward you. And oftentimes these are people that we are generally around all the time. And jinxes are things that can also be caused by our own selves, by resonating in this low vibration. We can attract all the negative things and chaos in our lives when we aren't in balance. So jinxes are not just because they can be annoying. These are things that are, I like to identify them as things that you could just wash away. You know, a little cleansing here, a little cleansing there, and you can take care of the jinxes. Hexes are like the 2.0 jinx. Hexes are a little more, they're a little more. They are things that are intentionally targeted, right? They are intentionally sent with a purpose, for like a specific purpose and intention on a area of your life. So someone may be wanting a job you want and they want to make sure you don't get it. So they send this hex out to block you from getting that job. And hexes are a little more personal, right? Because they are specifically targeting a specific part of your life, sending that baneful magic toward that part of your life. And a lot of times how you notice that this is happening is it stays with you a bit longer. That one specific part of your life, something always is happening and going wrong. So there's confusion, there's chaos. There is, you're foggy, your mind is foggy, you're unable to think, right? So when you feel like these things are happening to you, then you start to think, like, what's happening? What's going on? So a hex is more the next level up from a jinx. Curses is the ultimate. This is when you are being targeted, and this is for your whole life, right? When I say whole life, I mean like this is for just you, right? It's not necessarily a specific intention of your area of your life. This is more a curse on you and your family, right? You hear these things, a plague on you and your house. This is more about your overall, someone sending out this curse toward you because they do not want anything for you to go right. And this is really like in it for the long haul. They want you to cease and desist anything that you are doing. And a lot of times you hear about generational curses, and these are known to be things that are passed down, generational curses, right? So these are things like when somebody sends out a curse, sometimes they're like a curse on that person and their family, right? So it continues to go on and live within that lineage until someone acknowledges it and is like, listen, we got to take care of this. This can't continue to happen. So, a curse is a bit more serious. So, right, there's levels. It starts with the Jinx. These are little nuances that happens, right? You lose your car keys. You can't find your car keys, but eventually you do find it, right? Or you maybe you feel physically unwell, like you get a headache for that day. But these things happen. There's a lot of reasons that these happen, and a lot of times they're not coming from a person. It just could be the situation that you are in at that moment. And let me just share my opinion on curses. A lot of times, people assume that they are cursed because of these tremendous things that happen to them in their life that are negative, and they don't understand why it's happening, and they feel like they've done all the things that they needed to do, and things shouldn't be happening that way. A lot of times, we are the cause. And let me explain, right? I'm not saying that you can't be cursed. What I'm saying is you dot your I's, cross your T's. You do all the checks and balances first. So a couple of things that could be happening. One, because of those things, you are saying to yourself, something is wrong. I think I'm cursed. You continue to have this thought that someone's sending something toward me. Someone is sending baneful magic, targeting me. The more you say that, the more it becomes so. Our thought forms, right? The more you focus on this thought, you create this thought form, and that thought form is the thing that you said it was, right? So if you said, this is happening to me, that thought form is there to make sure that that happens. Or you simply believe that you are cursed. And what I mean by that is, like, you think this is something that's passed down and this is the thing that's happening. You are cursed. Or even just believing that you can be cursed. Not saying don't be in your ego. Don't be walking around like I'm doing all of these things so I can't be cursed. I'm protected and I can't be cursed. That never say never. But when you have a healthy understanding of, nobody's cursing me. It's really difficult for them to do that. But also be aware of this could potentially happen and take all the safeguard measures. I'll get into that in a second. Now I want to talk about the typical things that people do to take care of this. The first thing you want to do, I hope that you would do, is when you have these things happening, sit down and ask yourself, what is this? What's happening? What's going on? Do some divination, check in with your guides, to ask them to send you a sign, like what is happening, what's going on. Once you get your answer and it's like you got the go ahead and you know that someone is targeting you, then you detach. You don't cleanse first. You have to detach. You have to cut your energy away from being linked to the magic that was set out against you. Sever that cord. When you do that magic, you speak that intention. I cut myself away from anything that doesn't belong to me, anything that is not of me, anything that is wanted, anything that is baneful against me. I sever my energy from it. So you do that. Then the next thing you do is you cleanse. Most people default to rinsing yourself in a cleansing bath. Now, I like to use, which a lot of people do, but these are my three main ones. There's others, but these are my go-tos, and that's Angelica root. That is oh my gosh, rue. There's the rue plant and the hyssop. So those are my 3 go-tos. And what you do is you create a tea so that you can create this bath and wash yourself in it. And I don't mean tea like in a teacup and you're gonna drink it. I mean put the botanicals in some water, boil it, let the water cool off a bit. And then you get in the shower or tub, stand there, and you want to rinse that all over yourself. Wash yourself with that. And then, I don't know. This is what I like to do. I'm telling you what I like to do. And I've done it. So some people just do that. And towel dry, right? They like to say, pat yourself. Don't wipe it away. I go ahead and commit to taking a shower and doing a regular cleansing, right? So, but the point is you do a method of cleansing, and as you are doing that, you are thinking, I wash away all these things that were attached to me that no longer are. And I wash away the residue, anything that may be lingering. I wash away, you visualize this black mass, this dirt falling off and away from you and going down the drain. So, right, this is why I like to take that shower after, because as I'm doing that, I like to see and visualize this rinsing itself down the drain. You could do that the other way, but that's just, I'm telling you what I do. Once that is done, then you want to return that shit back to the sender. And if you feel it's intense and you really want to like stick it to that person, you could incorporate a doom candle in your working, or just simply do a return to sender. So what I like to do, there's a couple of ways that I do this. One of the ways that I did it that I thought was really fun, and it happened, it worked quickly, was I used a mirror, and it wasn't a big mirror, it's like a makeup compact mirror, and I set the candle on top, and I did the whole return to sender, and I have that video over on Patreon if you want to go take a look. This was about a year ago that I shared that, but there's a couple here I think on my channel now. I think I'll have to take a look, but the return to sender, what I like to do is I like to cover all bases, right? Literally. So I work with the directions, north, south, east, and west, and I'll have 4 candles at, one at each direction. Then I'll have the main candle in the middle. I will first light the candle, like I'll start with maybe north, depending, maybe sometimes east, but I'll start with north, and I'll say I'm sending back and detaching from anything that was directed at me from the north, say a few words, then I move, light that candle, then I move to the next candle, clockwise, move to the next candle, and say for each direction. Then I light the candle in the middle. And I believe I have that on here, this channel, under wall of protection, I think. And so it's something like that. And I put the main candle, once all the directions are lit and taken care of, I'll go to the main candle and commence to doing like returning to sender, speaking those intentions. And sometimes I'll have the petition under the candle. That is the written petition returning to sender, and do something like that. And then if you want to incorporate the doom candle, instead of having just a regular black candle, you can put the doom candle in the center, right? And really just really stick it to them. But if you don't have a doom candle, you could use like sulfur. Disclosure, please. Warning. Be careful how you use the sulfur. Sulfur is toxic. Once you use sulfur, that smell will stay in your house like forever. So you might want to use sulfur and go outside. I have sulfur mixed in my like hot foot powder, so maybe I'll use something like that. But if you use sulfur, please be safe. Wear gloves. It is toxic and it stinks. So I use, sometimes use sulfur. And that's really when you are like, you really want to send all the shit to them, right? So that is the process of what is typically done. There's so many ways that people, you know, tweak it to their personal needs, but that is a basic way that you can work on removing all of those things. Now, you don't stop there. This is why I stopped doing candle magic on this channel, because I don't want to put the thought out there that all you need is to light this candle, do the magic, and you're done. No, you have to put in the work. So the next thing that I feel, right, before you get to the point where you feel like something's done to you, things should have to really work to get through to you. You should be like a laptop, a computer, where you have these firewalls, these passwords, this protection put up so that anybody trying to send something at you really has to work at it. And it's not getting through. And most of the time, you know, practitioners don't. So having precautionary measures in place. So when you have them in place, right, sometimes you set a ward, like I have. You have a ward that is kind of like an alarm. And if any energy tries to get through, it's unfamiliar energy. It's almost like spam, right? Your email's like, I don't know, this doesn't look right. What is this? Who is this? So they put it in spam. This is kind of how I have my one of my servitors created as a warning. It lets me know that there's something abound to try to come in. So when you take these precautionary measures, you get these warnings, right? Now, if something gets through, right, then that's what you do. And usually it gets through because there's experienced practitioners out there, right? And they know that this could be the case. So they really do all the things, especially if they really want to get to you, they do all the things that's necessary to break through. So that's when you really, you know, do all those things that cleanses you of the curse or hex. The last thing that I really want to talk about, and this is above and beyond all of what I just mentioned as a precautionary measure. Raise your vibration. Because what happens is when you are cursed or not, usually you are like feeling off. You don't feel so good. You are in a lower vibration at that point. Or things happen because you are in a low vibration. You're resonating in this lower frequency. So working on, this is what I call doing the work. You don't like this. You don't just light the candle and keep it stepping and think that is the end. That is just the beginning. You work on raising your frequency, raising your vibration to resonate in a higher frequency. Because what happens is if your energy is expansive, if your energy is the thing that's taking up the room, it leaves no room for something else to get in. If your energy is this dominant energy, you want your energy to be the dominant energy. If you are resonating in a low frequency, then it isn't dominant. That means there's room for other things to come in. So if you work on the number one thing that I like to say to prevent yourself from any attacks is raising your vibration and frequency, right? Raising that, walking in a high vibe. And no, this can absolutely not happen every day. But the point is, I am aware. The point is, I acknowledge that in order for me to prevent things from happening, because they do, I work on raising my vibration. And because of this, what happens is you are connected. The channel is open. Sometimes you have your guide sitting there like, I'm trying to send her a message, but I can't get it through. It's a bit cloudy. It's the little blocks. I'm trying to send it, but she's not getting it. So when you raise when you're resonating in a high frequency, that means your channels are open. Things can flow from above, right? So you are connected. So your third eye is more open. You can see. Your intuition is awakened. So your senses are alive, and you can receive these warnings. And what happens is, and I'm speaking from experience, because this happens to me periodically where there's things sent. Not too long ago, I had that warning sent. I was this happens when warnings are sent, it's usually a lot of times for me in the astral. And because there's a picture shown, and the last time that this was sent, and the actual picture of the person I don't know this person, but the actual picture of the person, and then I found out who they were, showed up in the astral, and it showed me what they were doing. So that is the advantage of resonating in a higher frequency and being connected. That is the work behind the scenes. That is the thing that keeps your magic elevated. That is the thing that keeps the magic that you are sending out powerful, right? So it's not just, let me do this, return to sender, or let me light this doom candle and it's done. It's not done. There's work to be done behind the scenes. So that is one of my biggest pet peeves. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing a lot of candle magic on this channel, is because I feel like, well, I'm not going to say that, but we're in the age of like microwave magic, where let me do this and people expect the outcome to be what they want it to be. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes, and it starts from you within, your power. The more powerful your energy is, the more powerful your magic is. So if you want your magic to work, if you want those curses to be removed, do all those nuances, right? Do all the things, but don't leave out working on building your frequency and raising your vibration. So that's what I wanted to share in this video, all about jinxes, hexes, and curses. And I'm doing this because this was based on, I put out a post asking, was there anything that people wanted me to talk about or do, make videos on this channel? And this is one of the suggestions. I have the other suggestions as well that I'm going to do videos on. And so I thank you for those of you who have put those suggestions out. So I got some good ones, so I'll be making content on those. But I do have a couple of other videos. So stay tuned for I think the next video is going to be, I'm going to talk about the 5 pentacles of Venus and working with them. But in this video, I wanted to answer, respond to that suggestion. So that is it. Until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.